We met at 14 and we're pregnant at 20. So we really just had to act.
Get up and go while all of our friends living their lives as 20-year-olds. Her and I, we put our heads down. We had to figure it out as we went. Life moves at you fast, and a lot of times a moment where we freeze, but then you have to make a move, and you just have to step with confidence and have to take the action that's required because there's people depending on you. She brought me into the SFR world. I probably underwrote the very first bulk portfolio in SFR, early 2011, 30 terrible homes in Pittsburgh Bay Point, but the numbers worked and it made sense. I drove every single property.
Marriage is not easy. There is a lot of commitment on both sides, compromise, communication, and at the end of the day, there's two individual people who are experiencing life. This isn't Instagram highlight reels.
Not at all.
This is all the stuff in the background that allows us to post the highlight reels.
I'm Roberto Castillo. I'm Chief Operating Officer for Wealth Building Rewards by Roots, and this is my wife.
I'm Adriana Castillo, and I am the current Chief Compliance Officer for Realty of America. And we decided to come together and do this podcast, Built Together, because we wanted to share our story and provide a different perspective to marriage, partnership, and building businesses and building careers. We definitely came into this without a blueprint. We met at 14 and we're pregnant at 20. And so we really just had to act. I mean,
get up and go while all of our friends and all of our family and people we saw, living their lives as 20-year-olds. Her and I, we put our heads down. We had to figure it out as we went. And along the way, we've always talked about sharing the stories, sharing the things that have built us along the way, both individually and collectively, and giving that insights to those that would get something from it. And so, working with Everresi Media and being able to bring this to the forefront is exciting, and we're happy to share.
And I think that, this show will be for couples, partners that are looking for real life stories and how we were able to bridge the gap with our family life and are raising our children and still chasing our own ambitions, along with our careers and the businesses that we were contributing to, the businesses that we were building, and how we were able to balance it all, especially being so young. We didn't really think about it. We didn't really come into this necessarily with a plan of, this is how we're going to, get to the next level and raise the children. We really just had to put our head down and think about, how are we going to support our family? How are we going to live? I mean, that was the
life moves at you fast, especially when it moves so quickly and the unexpected happens. And a lot of times we have a moment where we freeze, but then you have to make a move, and you just have to step with confidence and have to be able to take the action that's required of you because there's people depending on you. And that resonates, whether that's the family life, whether that's our partnership, whether that's our wife, whether that's business and individuals that are depending on us at work. What we found is there's a consistent theme in the ability to move and to act and to react and to be a partnership and create partnership in our lives, and this is a proponent of why we have decided to start this podcast.
And so we were married really young. We were 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We already were expecting our first child, and our first thought was neither one of us had finished college yet. We were right in the middle of it.
Yep.
So I decided to lean on my real estate experience and get licensed. I had been working with my dad at a brokerage and had a broker that was mentoring me and was in the loan processing and being an executive assistant for a broker. So he had encouraged me to get my license, and I decided, okay, this is probably the best way to support and feed our family. I knew the business. I knew I was very good at it. And so 8 months pregnant, went and sat for the California real estate exam, passed it. And that is, what allowed me to work from home and take care of our first daughter. And that eventually led to Roberto being able to finish his undergrad.
Yeah, in the meantime, I was going to school, finishing school, and working nights to be able to do that. So work all night, get up and go to school during the day, sleep when I could, took care of the baby when I could. And it was really just, I'd get home and she'd be gone, or vice versa. And so luckily for us, we had a ton of family that was able to come in and help. And if it wasn't for them, we definitely wouldn't be where we are today. But over time, we just kept moving, one foot in front of the other. I ended up finishing and getting my degree. She was continuing to work down the real estate world. I didn't quite know what I was going to do with my degree, but I knew I had finished it, and I was looking at things to do. And the journey continued.
And so by 24, 25, we had 2 daughters. Mm-hmm. And I think by that point, we knew we had to really think about stability. We had been able to use real estate income as a way for us to get by and for him to finish school. But now, having a second child come into the mix, we really needed to think about now, okay, what do we want for our future? That's when we really started to think about, where do we want to live? What kind of life do we want to have together? And that's kind of where we really started to hone in on, all right, what's this next step? And so,
yeah. And it's funny, along the ways, at any given point, we could have gotten comfortable and we could have said, hey, you know what, man, we had kids so young, we could just, this probably would be good enough. But our ambitions, our drive for continuing to think about the life that we wanted ahead of us, even with the life that we had in front of us, drove us to continue to want for more. So I went to law school while she continued to work. I had jobs here and there that I was doing that as we grew. I was working at a law firm at the time. And we just made it work. Like you had to do the things that were necessary, both at home, both at school, both at, with the clients that we were servicing. And at the time, all deals were going through her, but I was picking up the phone and having conversations with them as well. Don't pay attention to the unlicensable activities, but I think it was a learning experience as we grew, and we grew both independently and collectively as we went. And of course, raising 2 daughters at the same time was extra special. And so, I think it's all part of this journey that we're sharing, that's got us from where we were, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, 20 years old. What am I going to do? I don't even know how to take care of myself, let alone take care of another being, let alone incorporate, my spouse into that as well. But it's trial and error. We've had a lot of errors, a lot of bumps in the road that we have experienced, and all of those things have led us to where we're at today. And so as we look at our lives and we look at the kids that we have, man, you start crying. If we look at the family that we raised and the family that surrounds us, as we look at the trips that we've been able to take and the people that we've been able to meet along the way, man, I wouldn't change any of it. I wouldn't change any of it.
As you can tell, he's the more emotional.
I'm the crybaby.
One of the two of us.
For sure.
But yes, I mean, I think it's true. We were really young when we started, but it never stopped us from wanting to achieve the individual goals and individual just ambitions that we had on our own. And at times that has, caused some tension or resentment within our marriage because, trying to navigate that when you're raising young children, when you're still learning yourself, figuring your own person out, it definitely provided for some challenges for sure. But I think that what has made a huge impact in our relationship is the ability that we have these conversations and we have the hard talks. And that's kind of what made us realize we should take this and, do a podcast.
Take this show on the road.
To really show people that, marriage is not easy. There is a lot of commitment on both sides, a lot, compromise, communication. And at the end of the day, there's, two individual people who are experiencing life, right? And so I think that having this open conversation has really helped us navigate difficult times, navigate our careers, our children, everything, life. And so being able to share this and kind of show the other side of it. This isn't Instagram highlight reels.
Not at all.
This is all the stuff on the in the background that happens that allows us to, post the highlight reels. Is being able to work through the tough things together on the back end. And our kids have been along on that journey, and we haven't even touched on the fact that we had 2 more kids after our daughters.
Yeah, we're crazy like that. We're crazy. We could be done already.
Yes, they're both in college now. But yeah, we have, a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, 2 boys at home. That when we were finally feeling some stability,
if we're finally feeling good, and actually, let me share this story because it's an important story. It's probably the first time that we got out on a Sunday afternoon. Her parents are watching the girls. We're sitting out for brunch. We have live music. I have football behind her. We have mimosas. We're enjoying the time. We're like, man, this is what it actually is to be free and to be able to get out and about. And she's like, should we try for our boy? And I'm like, what? Are you crazy? Like, look at where we're at. But
I also was the person that didn't want a lot of kids either.
That is true.
And so the fact that I was even mentioning having another child was kind of crazy.
Yeah. So it is. It's a wild adventure that we've been on, as we've created this life, the conversations that we've had and the things that we've been able to share are all what we want to bring to the podcast, right? Is all the stuff that we want to be able to invite other partners, other individuals that will be joining us in the future to be able to share those types of things as well. And we'll start to touch upon our shift into the SFR world and how we actually got there. Again, she brought me into the SFR world because I finished law school and I was actually in the middle of law school doing all those things. And she, randomly, and actually before that, as 2008, 2009 happened, I was looking around the Bay Area and I was looking at what was, the value of properties. And I was like, man, we need to be buying these properties. So I went and talked to my dad and one of his partners. And I was like, I don't know how. I don't know what we should be doing, but look at the value of these properties. We should be picking all these up. My he's an attorney. He's like, I don't know either. Go figure it out. And randomly, Adriana got a position with McKinley Partners. And that's where our journey into building the SFR world and being part of the SFR world really took off in 2010. 2010.
And I found the role on Craigslist. I was at a point where I really wanted ever since I was little, I wanted to go to law school. I wanted to be in the legal field. And so I was in a spot where I was able to now look for a different role. And I figured, let me see what's available. And the very first role that I got, I interviewed for a couple of law firms, but I didn't have experience because I'd been in real estate for 6-7 years at that point. And so I got this role with McKinley Partners, and it was literally just a data entry role. I was just going in to kind of clean up data. They had started acquiring,
Fix and flips.
fix and flips and properties, and they didn't have someone with a real estate background, needed help kind of just organizing things. And so I went into the role not really wanting to stay there. I just was like, all right, well, here's a role I can do for now until I find something else.
Yep.
The
irony.
Yeah.
The irony.
And then coincidentally, I did get a law firm interview, and I interviewed, and they loved me, and they wanted to bring me on. They even paved the path for me to get my paralegal certificate. And so I thought, wow, this is a no-brainer. I should take this role. But when I went back to talk to Phoebe, who was running McKinley Partners with Gregor at the time, she said, no, you can't leave. We can't have you leave. And so I had a conversation with Roberto, and
in the meantime, I'm going to law school and I'm working for a law firm. And every time, we had a long commute at that point. Every day in our commute, what happened today? How many houses did you guys buy off the auction block today? What was sold? And it was just so intriguing for me, much more than the law books and the being in a courtroom, that I started looking for flips on the outside for McKinley Partners, and we found a couple, and they acquired them, they renovated them, they were successful. And so when it came down to build the team at McKinley, Gregor and Phoebe and now Adriana and some of the others that were there at the time, I was able to join them on the acquisitions where I was buying from the auction block. And so I probably underwrote the very first bulk portfolio in SFR. I could probably stand on that. Is early 2011, 30 terrible homes in Pittsburgh Bay Point, but the numbers worked and it made sense. I drove every single property. I started to create, what ended up being the structure for a portfolio acquisition way back when, not even knowing, just, all right, these are the things I need to know and in order for us to be able to feel good about signing off on. And from there was, it just grew from there, just like the industry grew, right? We know that, it was acquiring properties, renovating them, stabilizing them. We went from being in the Bay Area only to Dallas, to Houston, Miami, Chicago, Atlanta, and we expanded over the course of the next 3 or 4 years into different markets with 643 Capital at the time, because we branched off from McKinley with the team there. And so along that way, we were just charting the course. Like, we didn't know what we were doing. I remember when Gregor first came to me and he said, hey, we own 250 houses in Dallas. We don't quite know where they're at in the construction process. Can we figure that out? All right. So I flew out there for a week, sat down with Scott Tinkham, my guy, my favorite person. Well, one of my favorite persons in SFR, but he knows. And we mapped it out, and then we built that structure for managing renovations from end to end, and built the Salesforce process. And over the course of time, through both our careers, while she was managing at that point with HR and legal and transactions.
Well, I mean, clearly,
everything, all of the above.
Clearly, I took the role at McKinley Partners and stayed there. But yeah, I mean, I think I have held every position. I trained our acquisition team to run CMAs when they were first coming on, because a lot of them didn't have real estate experience, and I did. So I showed them how to run comps and put together a comp package. I also did project managing with the construction team, making sure that our construction was running according to our timelines, managed our sales team locally in the Bay Area. So grew that to, I think, about 10 to 15 agents.
Yeah, and somewhere along the way, you and I found time to sell 150 individual assets.
Yeah, we also helped sell homes ourselves, listing them on the market ourselves. And really, I built the operations behind our ability to scale transactions. And so using, my real estate background, I was able to really hone in on the transaction piece of it and operations and basically bringing it all together.
Yeah.
Sourcing and acquisitions with transaction and then moving it over to our asset management and property management because, oh yeah, by the way, Gregor came in one day and was like, congratulations, you have a new role. You're now our property manager for, what was it, 150 or 200 homes in the Bay Area. I was the only one licensed and able to do that. And so I moved over.
I remember the day she said, okay. We went home and she got Property Management for Dummies, the book. And then she said, she skimmed through it. She said, okay, I think I got this. And over the course of the next 3 to 6 months, she got her arms around it and we used the team that was there because we were all focused on, all right, how do we make sure that this is stabilized? At that point, Starwood and Colony had just come into the space. And so it's just interesting time, and you see the journey as we've gone from 20-year-olds, having no clue what to do with ourselves. Me going to law school, finishing law school, and having my dad ask me, "Well, aren't you going to practice law?" Like, oh, I don't see any happy attorneys running around here. Like, real estate investing is fun. I'm having a good time buying houses off the auction block. We were going down to Dallas on a monthly basis, $5 million in cashier's checks, coming home with, 50 properties at a time. And it all, it's all part of the learnings that we had along the way of being uncomfortable in the position and learning as we go, which really resonates with kind of how we started our journey on together, where we didn't know how this was going to work. We didn't know how it was going to pan out. But we had faith. So a lot of times we just stepped because we had to. We didn't even have the faith. You were just like, all right, well, I have no choice. But it's gotten us to where we're at today, and along the ways, we joined from the whole evolution of 643 Capital, building street lane homes, and I guess we should talk about the pace of when we had our boys. She really had to take a step back. So if you can't tell, she has really been like pushing the envelope and made me push myself to catch up to her along the way. And when we had our boys, she really had to take a step back. It was a decision that we made. And she's, understandably, she took a step back to help raise them, to spend more time with them. And as her career, she wasn't able to focus as much time on her career. That's when I was able to really dig in because of the adjustment that had taken place. And it was amazing. It was good for me in a sense that I was able to really showcase myself and really spend the time on my career and being able to build. And so I was able to advance very quickly over the next couple years. I was traveling to and from Dallas from 2014 to 16, 17, pretty much a week, a month to build what was Street Lane Homes back then. A lot of love for all the people that helped us build that organization. Again, probably the first institutional third-party real estate property management company. We were probably 2 or 3 years ahead of everyone else. Also figuring it out. This is what we think the game plan is. You put it in motion. 6 months later, you're like, oh, what we thought was a perfect operations was not, and you have to tweak and you have to adjust and you have to iterate, and we work all the way from top to bottom. But I was only able to do that because she took her step back in her career to help raise the boys. She was obviously still very much involved in the whole process and in the company.
I was still working full time.
Yeah.
I took a pause on taking on more responsibility and maybe a higher title at the time, but I was absolutely still working full time. And Roberto left a week or two after I gave birth to our fourth child and
So
went to Texas.
There's some sore subjects here.
So, I was at home working full time with 4 children, one a newborn, one 2.5, and then 6 and 9.
And the crazy dog that couldn't help but get out of the house.
And a runaway dog that I was always chasing after. And we had just moved to a new town, and I was trying to get involved with the kids in the school, and so and at that time he was traveling almost 50% of the time.
That's a lot.
And I carried that all the home and my full-time job while he was traveling. And yeah, I think that was probably one of the hardest times, with just the resentment that built up in me. I still wanted to, finish my undergrad. I still wanted to go to law school. And obviously, I'm a very ambitious person. So having to take the backseat in my career was really hard on my ego. Like, it was very hard for me to watch others kind of take the lead in some of the things that would have gone to me.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the more challenging times with us trying to balance out, career, kids, and the need to feed our individual ambitions and what we wanted. Because as you were just saying, you were being able to propel forward in what you loved to do.
Yeah, and you talk about the highlight reel, right? I learned that I can't post videos or photos of these amazing business dinners because I would get a text, "How nice for you." And I would sit there, oh man. So after a while I stopped posting those photos because of course I was thinking about you, but over time, like eventually as you started to get back in the motion, and then you were able to put your foot on the gas in your career, and you started going out and being able to travel for the various positions that you had, and you got to have your business meals, you got outings, you got things that
I got to enjoy some of that stuff too. And I think as a mom, it's always been hard to leave the kids and kind of struggle with some of that mom guilt too of leaving and chasing these dreams that I had, and not being as present at times with the kids. But I think that through that, both him and I have found a way to, I wouldn't call it balance, because it's not necessarily like a 50-50 or a perfectly even playing field at all times, but we were able to find a structure that worked for us. And if I'm traveling, or if I have a heavy load at work, he's able to take the load, and vice versa. And obviously I did end up going back to law, or I got to go to law school.
Yeah. And that was a big choice, actually. She was debating. She was like, should I just go get my master's and then, get teaching credential, or should I go to law school? Oh, I was like, it's a no-brainer. You've always wanted to go to law school. Why is this even a question? She was like, yeah, but it's a shorter time period if I just go do this, and it'll be easier on us. And, and my response to her was like, hey, look, at 4 years is going to pass by no matter what. Whether, in 4 years, we'll either turn around and you'll have your law degree and you'll have it done, or we'll turn around and we'll still be sitting here wondering whether or not we should have done it. And, that gave her the motivation to do it. And she reached out to the school, and she was able to talk to the old individual that was helping the dean there. And she got in, and she started a lot faster than I was expecting to start. I thought I was going to get like 6 months preparation. They were actually able to get her in that current semester. So she called me up. She said, guess what? I start next week. I'm like, oh.
He was out of town.
Oh, okay. So as soon as I get back, now we have to navigate and throw this, initiative that has been something that's been on her mind and in her heart for all her life, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I've always known that. But being the understanding that, as I mentioned, time is going to fly by anyway. It's like, let's just put our head down and run with it. We've done it before, right? 20 to 26, while all our friends were out partying and hanging out, heads were down. We were working, going to school, raising the kids, and I was able to see the benefit of that throughout. And so she did. I mean, it was about 3 or 4 years of time that she was gone. Like sun up in the morning, she'd be reading, she'd be out at work, we'd be at work during the day. Now, thankfully, it actually happened right as COVID hit.
Because
So,
I was going to say, because I, again, was still working
yeah,
full time
yeah.
when I went to
How?
when I went
How is
to
it
law
possible?
school.
How is that even possible?
But yeah, it was perfect because COVID happened, and initially I was a little bit worried about not being in the classroom, but thank goodness it allowed us the ability to I didn't have to commute. I didn't have to, be away. I was able to do it right from home. Challenging at times,
Yeah.
for sure, but I think what was really cool is that our kids saw me working really hard.
Oh, yeah.
The girls witnessed me balancing work, balancing school. I was also still on the board at the PTA.
Sissy's crazy. She just does a lot.
And so yeah, I think they were able to really see that starting at 20 and having kids really young and having 4 kids
Yeah.
did not stop either one of us
Yeah.
from continuing to do the things that we wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, as we've had conversations with each other and with other couples and other partnerships, people that work, the same thing always was asked: how do you guys do it? How do you guys work together?
Yeah.
And how are you able to navigate all of this? And I think that, again, a big reason why we said, hey, let's have this conversation and let's bring other people who have experienced life along with their careers and their families and whatever that looks like. Because I think that there are a lot of conversations around how to be successful at business, how to be successful at your marriage, but doing it together and, building a life together that incorporates both of your ambitions, your careers, your families. And, there's not really anything out there, at least that I've found, that really kind of speaks to this.
And it definitely doesn't bring our experience to it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think where the other thing and the consistent thing that we've seen is we've always had to get back to the foundation. We've always had to, over the course of the years, make sure that we get back to what started it all. Because when we don't, we often lose sight of what's most important. You get lost in the kids' schedule and the drop offs and the pickups and the sports world, and then all of our to dos and our projects and our things that we have for work,
and all the volunteering I sign up for,
and all the volunteering she signs up for, and all the volunteering she signs me up for. And if you don't get back, to the basics, and you don't have those conversations where you're able to take a step back and say, okay, how are you? How are you doing? What do you want out of the next year of your life, next 3 or 4 years of your life? There have been many times over the course of these 21 years that we've been together, married, that we have grown together, we have grown apart, we have come to the cliff and looking over and saying, man, the grass is probably greener over there. And if at any given moment we both would have been feeling the same way, this wouldn't be happening. I mean, that's without a doubt. But over the course of time, we've been able to reach those cliffs, and that's with anything, right? That's just not with each other. I had a cliff with our daughter. I'm like, well, before she went to college, all right, you're going to be good.
I was worried.
You're going to be good.
Worried about the relationship.
And you got to go. And she would said the same thing. Oh, I got to go. I got to get out of here. And it's it's navigating life, right? It's those things. It's the pressure that we get as fathers. It's the pressure that we get as husbands, as parents, as, C-suite executives, as individuals, as humans, our our approach is really just to provide the insight and, give some information that hopefully you all could take from, and share some stories along the way, because there's a lot of good things that have come from building it together. And it includes everything, all of the above: the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, the sad, the tough parts, the good times, the sunsets, the everything. I mean, and having it evolve to us being here and talking to Greg at Everresi and meeting Yvonne and the whole team, and seeing the culture that they're building with with Everresi Media, and being incorporated in the SFR industry and beyond, as I know it will grow. Just really exciting, really exciting.
Definitely. And we have some exciting guests that we've already started having conversations with, both in SFR and out of SFR.
Yep.
Partnerships, not just couples, but partners also, building businesses together and balancing their personal and family lives alongside that. And so, yeah, we're really excited to take this next step in this journey. This is definitely outside of my comfort zone. It's not
for sure
necessarily.
We're scrambling right before we turn this on to get all this set up, and she's, I'm so anxious. Like, it'll be okay. It'll be all right. We're gonna figure it out, and when we get there, we'll figure it out, because we've been here before, right? And I think, when you experience the world in that manner, and the professional world too, right? We've all been there where, something crazy happens at work and your stomach knots up and you're like, oh, how are we going to navigate this? How are we going to figure it out? But there's always a path forward, and there's always a path through. And we're happy to be able to blend the conversation to incorporate not just the things that we've experienced on the home front, but also the things that we experience in everyday life.
Yeah. And I've learned the past couple of years is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Just start.
Yep.
Just take the step forward.
Yeah.
Which for me, as a recovering perfectionist and type A personality, has been a challenge. I definitely sat in fear rather than taking the step. So this was I just agreed, and I said, okay, let's do this. So I'm really excited for us moving forward, built together.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I have some rapid fire questions that we can go through.
Okay.
So, who would you say is more stubborn? That's definitely me.
Oh yeah, that's without a doubt.
Who apologizes first?
Probably me.
I think it depends.
No, I'm gonna say it's me.
Who do you think is more ambitious?
You, for sure. Like I said, I'm always trailing you, trying to catch up.
Yeah, I think you are also ambitious, but just in a more like laid back style. I'm
not angry ambitious.
I'm full throttle.
Yeah. Foot on the gas.
Head.
Oh yeah. We'll get there. Don't worry, we'll get there.
Who starts ideas at 11 p.m. at night?
Who starts ideas at 11 p.m.? Oh, that's me.
That's you.
For sure.
100%.
For sure.
My brain shuts down at 8 p.m.
Yep.
And he starts asking me questions at 9.
I think I was trying to talk to you about the podcast. I was like, what are we going to do about this renter show today?
I couldn't.
You're like, you better talk to me tomorrow about that.
It was past my bedtime.
Yep.
Who do you think pushes harder? I think that's me.
I think it's you two. Yeah. Can we add any more to our plate? I don't know. If we can, it's definitely you that's going to find it.
And then let's see. What keeps us choosing each other?
Our friendship.
I agree.
And the way you dance.
I agree. I think for sure our friendship, because we can talk about anything.
Oh, yeah. It could just be this is fun.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely having a good time.
Yeah.
Never mind that Greg's on the other side recording this. But anyway, I could do this all day.
Yeah, I do agree. I think no matter where we are, as long as we're together, we always have a lot of fun together.
Yeah.
So
And that is a blessing for sure.
Yeah.
I know not everybody has that. But I think it's built from the trials and tribulations, right? And the ability, I mean, yeah. We'll dive into it in the future.
well, I think that is the end of this first episode.
Episode 1 in the books.
Yeah.
That's it. Is there anything else we should be telling the people out there? Like, follow both us on Instagram, Facebook. Go follow Everresi Media as well. We're gonna see you on LinkedIn. We'll be all over all over the social media. We love your feedback. We love information, and we'd like to incorporate it into what we build going forward. So man, we're excited for the journey that we're embarking here. I'm even more excited now because of how good this went and how I feel about this. Now, if we only get 10 viewers, I'm still going to feel okay. So that's all right. So don't worry. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. We're looking forward to seeing you guys on episode 2, where we're going to have our first guest who are a couple, and we'll get more information out to you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.
I'm Roberto Castillo.
And I'm Adriana Castillo, and
this is Built Together on Everresi Media.